read through first.
All right, so it is book club, August, what are we, the 18th, 2022, 8:35 p.m. Thank you everyone for joining us. If you're joining after and listening on the recording, we are reading from the Poetic Edda, and let's see, we are reading tonight. I'm in the middle of it because I was rereading it again. What's the name of this one we're reading? The Skirmers. Matt, go ahead and take it away and let us know who wants to volunteer tonight to read. Who do we got that wants to read tonight?
I'll get it at some point.
Back as always.
We got
Which poem are we reading today?
Skirnismál.
What did you say?
Page 72 starts. So we've got the introduction to read through, and then for stanzas 1 through 10, we'll need Skírnismál and Frey. I'll go ahead and read the introduction if no one minds, and then do we have a volunteer for stanzas 1 through 10, Skírnismál and Frey?
Sure, I got it.
Cool. You want to do Skírnismál or Frey?
Either doesn't make a difference to me. I'll do Skírnismál.
Okay. Who wants to be Frey?
I'll take Frey.
Cool. All right. I'll read the introduction, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right. So, for Skírnismál, the journey of Skírnismál on behalf of Frey. The next poem for Skírnismál, literally Skírnismál's journey, it's also preserved in part in the manuscript AM 748142, where it is called Skírnismál, Skírnismál's word. Read literally, the poem presents an unlovely picture of the god of agriculture, Frey, who sees a beautiful giant woman named Gurth, daughter of Gimnir, when he is sitting upon Odin's throne. Hold on. Hlithskjalf. I think I got it. Beautiful and bright light are stereotypically associated in Old Norse. Hence the description of Gurth as literally luminous in stanza 6. Frey sends his messenger to Skírnismál to convince Gurth to marry him at any cost, and his efforts make up the bulk of the poem. After many threats and curses, Gurth agrees to marry Frey, but she stipulates that Frey must wait 9 nights' time. Skírnismál returns to Frey and tells him that he must wait 9 nights, which prompts Frey to close the poem by complaining that he must wait 3 nights. This difference in numbering is perhaps a reflection of an old custom compelling men to wait for Hionot, literally marriage night, which lasted 3 days, so they could consummate an agreed marriage. The poem's narrative has been interpreted as an allegory in which Frey, as the god of agriculture, sends the Shining One, who is the literal meaning of Skírnismál, perhaps intended to evoke the sun, to prepare the thawing earth, symbolized by Gurth, whose name may be related to the word for farm, for the first sowing at the end of winter. As usual, the prose introduction and insertions are part of how the poem was preserved in the manuscript. Frey, son of North, sat on Hlithskjalf and looked out over all the worlds. He looked into Jotunheim, and there he saw a beautiful woman who walked from her father's house to her own little detached house nearby. He became lovesick from the sight. Frey had a servant who was named Skírnismál, and Njord told Skírnismál to ask Frey what the matter was. In Skathi said, "Get up, Skírnismál, and go ask our son to talk. Find out who it is who makes him so angry."
I can expect only bad words from your son. If I go and talk with him, if I go to ask him who it is who's made him so angry. Tell me, Frey, great amongst the gods, because I want to know, why are you sitting alone inside the hall all day long, my lord?
Why should I tell you my sorrow, young man? The sun shines all day long, but it does not soothe my longing.
Lord, I doubt that your longing is so great that you cannot tell me about them. The two of us were young together a long time ago. We can trust each other.
In Gymir's yard, I saw beautiful women walking. Her arms shone so bright, they reflected in all the air and sea. That woman means more to me than any woman has ever meant to any young man. But among the gods and elves, there's no one who would bless our marriage.
Give me a horse that will carry me through darkness and flame, and give me your sword that fights by itself against many giants.
I'll give you a horse that will carry you through darkness and flame, and I'll give you my sword that fights itself by itself, if it's carried by a wise man.
It's dark outside. Time for us two to ride over dewy mountains, to rush beyond the homes of men. Either we both will come back, or the mighty giant will take us both.
Okay, they'll need volunteers for 11 to 24. Skírnir, Herdsman, Girth, and Servant Girl. Any volunteers for Skírnir?
I can do Skimmer.
Nope. Herdsman? Pretty short part.
I can take the herdsman then.
Great. Girth? Okay.
Kara's got Girth.
Hand up there. Cool. And Servant Girl. I really want to be the Servant Girl, if that's okay. I'll take the Servant Girl. Okay, I'll be the Servant Girl. Okay, so Skírnir.
Do you want to do Skirmir? I can do Serving Girl.
I will totally do the Serving Girl. I want to be the Serving Girl tonight. I'm totally fine with it.
Excellent.
So, who's Skírnir? Who was that? Oh, Sprinkle. Yeah, so certainly you're good.
Skimmer rode to Gymir's home in Jotunheim. There were fierce dogs chained up outside the fence that surrounded the hall where Girth lived. Skimmer rode over to where a herder sat in a mound and said to him, "Tell me, herdsman, sitting on the mound and watching all the roads, how can I get past Gymir's dogs for a chance to talk to the young lady Girth?"
Is this your death day, or are you already dead? You'll never have a chance for conversation with Gymir's good daughter.
There's always a better choice than cowardice. If you have business to take care of. One day, long ago, my life was already shaped, and that my fate was fixed.
What is this noise I'm hearing in our halls? The earth trembles and everything shakes in the home of Gymir.
There's a man outside. He has sniffed off his horse and he's letting it feed.
Ask him to come inside into our hall and drink the splendid mead, though I fear that he may be the one who killed my brother. Are you of the Aesir, or the wise Vanir, or one of the elves, guest? Why have you come over the great flame to see our home?
I am no elf, nor one of the Aesir, nor one of the Vanir, though I have come over the giant flame to see your home. I have elven apples made of gold. I will give them to you, Girth, to buy your love, so that you will pledge to live happily with Frey.
I would never accept 11 apples as the price of my love for any man, not even for Frey. I will never marry him so long as we live.
I will give you the ring that Odin placed on his young son's funeral pyre. 8 just like it drop from it every night. 9th night.
I would never accept that ring, even if Odin did place it on his young son's funeral pyre. I have no lack of gold in the home of Gymir to share with my father.
Do you see this sword, girl? This slender, pretty sword, which I have in my hand here? I will cut off your head from your neck unless you go along with me.
I will never endure the threats of any man, and I think if Gymir finds you here, you brave men will come to blows.
Do you see this sword, girl? This slender, pretty sword? which I have in my hand here. Your old father will bend to his knees beneath this blade. I'll be the death of your father. I will beat you with a club till I tame you, girl, till you go along with my wishes. Then you'll go a place where no one will ever see you again. You will sit forever on eagle's nest, turned away from the world, looking at hell. Food will seem as awful to you as Midgard's serpent seems to men. You will be laughed at when you emerge. A giant man will look at you. They'll all stare at you. You'll be better known than Heimdall himself, staring out behind your gate. Foolishness and screaming and pain, unendurable pain. May your tears grow with your sorrow. Sit down and I will tell you some sad news. I'll double your grief. Monsters will bend you over for the whole unhappy day in Jotun. You'll crawl every day without choice, without hope, to a hall of frost trolls. You'll weep and never be happy. Your sorrows will make you cry. You'll have three-headed giant for your husband, or go without a husband. You'll go crazy and rot with illness. You'll be like a fat thistle rippled halfway off its stalk and left to dry. I went to a forest to get a young tree branch to find a magic wand there. I found a magic wand there. Odin will rage at you. Thor will rage at you. Frey will hate you. You evil girl, you have earned the hatred of the gods. Hear me, giants. Hear me, frost trolls. Hear me, fire trolls. Hear me, gods. I curse this girl. I curse her nerve to know a man's love, never to have a husband. Himimir's the name of the troll who will take you down below the gate of hell. There below the tree roots, servants will bring you goats, urine to drink. You'll never get anything better to drink, not if you want it, girl. Not even if it, girl. Not even if I want it, girl. Sorry. I curse you with that troll and 3 other curses. Sexual shame and madness and unbearable suffering. I've caused you already, but I'll call all the curses off if you give me good reason.
Be welcome here instead, and take this drinking horn full of good ancient mead, even if I previously said that I would never marry that god of the Vanir.
I want to know my errands complete before I ride away. Tell me when you'll meet the noble son of North. When will you come to comfort Frey?
There's a grove named Body, we both know it, a peaceful place in the forest. After 9 nights, Frey, son of Njord, will enjoy my love there.
When Skirnir rode home, Frey stood waiting for him and asked for the news.
Who was Frey?
Tell me, Skirnir, before you unsaddle that horse, before you take one more step, what did you accomplish in Jotunheim for your and my purposes? Skirnir said, there's a grove named Bari, we both know it, a peaceful place in the forest. After 9 nights, Frey, son of North, will enjoy Gerst's love there. Frey said, 1 night would be long enough, 2 would be worse. How can I contain my lust for 3? A month as often seemed shorter to me than half such a marriage night.
The end.
Well,
Thank you. I was like, somebody else ended.
Well, that escalated quickly.
That was
Didn't
a
it?
Just a little.
Good. Sorry, guys. I get real passionate too. Like I got all up in that.
Hey, will you come date my boyfriend? No? Great. That's... Yeah.
Well, if you put it that way, then yeah, tell them to meet me in the field.
I feel like maybe put a trigger warning in the YouTube or wherever y'all post the recording.
Oh, there
Right.
will be. Kiara even put a nice one in for us the other day when we discussed which one we would be reading right after, which was lovely. I like how she has our back with that on a lot of things in our Discord.
Well, I'm saying,
We got
it's pretty brutal, man.
We've got a secret Discord guru in our pocket. We love her.
You know what I found the hardest part about this? Was that prior to reading this specific piece of our lore, I was a big fan of Frey's. Like, he was top 3 for me. And I had a hard time, and I want to know if anybody else has had this issue. That's kind of the discussion point, one of the discussion points I wanted to bring up. If anybody else has had this issue, kind of, I don't know the word for it, like wrapping your head around it with behavior of, one of your patrons or one of the gods that you're close with, because like there are some pieces of lore, especially with Odin too, that don't paint them in a very kind or good light, or the light that you know them in, or that you're comfortable with them in, like that doesn't reflect on the relationship you have with them or the understanding you have of them. So like, I'm wondering how you guys, if you have, find a way to be okay with that.
Okay, now hang on just a second here. I want to answer this one for you real quick. Okay, Matt, take yourself off mute real quick, buddy. Do you want to date Kira?
Different circumstances, different lives. I have no idea.
She's pretty and you should date her. It doesn't matter what's going on with her. You should date her.
Nope, I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I made a promise.
If you don't date her, I'm going to beat you up.
No, it's all good.
I've got a bottle. I'm going to beat you in the head with a bottle of mead if you don't date Kira.
That's okay. I'm beating. Sorry.
Okay, now, Kira, does that make you any different of a person?
No, but
Did you have any control over what I just told to Matt?
no.
Did
But I
you
can
know
see where she's coming from with like the trust you put in people, though. I mean, somebody put trust in somebody else to do something for them, and that was
trusting someone else, even trusting someone else to do for you, doesn't mean they're going to do exactly what you approve of or expect them to do, regardless of how you trust them to do.
Fair point.
So I put prayers. The old saying of "don't shoot the messenger." I think in this situation, it's the opposite. Shoot the damn messenger. Because the messenger is the one who's causing the issues, not Freyr. I firmly believe that with everything we know of Freyr, had he known that his little guy was going to go off and do that, he would have chosen someone else or knocked him in the head first and said, don't do that. Even afterwards, if he found out that he was doing that, he would have knocked him in the head. I don't think it has any bearing on Freyr as to what his messenger did.
I guess that where I'm conflicted too is that Freyr's languaging in this is really repelling to me as well, where he's just like a lovesick puppy, like, and then when she says 9 days and sets any kind of boundary, any kind of control she can still get or give in this situation, like anything, he's just like, nah, 3 days. Like, we're going to go ahead and just disregard anything that she wants in any of this. You know what I mean? So that was like...
My lust is important. My lust is too much. I can't handle that.
I wasn't impressed with anything.
Where I got from that was she told the messenger 9 days, but how long did it take him to get from her to him? Did it take 6 days? Because if it took 6 days, then there's 3 days left out of the 9 that she said.
But I feel like if that was the case, wouldn't have Skírnismál had presented the offering as such, like, she'll meet you in 3 days because 6 days had already passed. Not a me, you know what I'm saying?
True.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming with that.
But we've noted that
And
he's
he
not a
could
very
see
good
her.
messenger.
Like, Frey could see her. He was sitting there looking at her when this happened. So I can't imagine she's too far away if he's sitting there, like, being creepy, watching her all the time.
True.
Well,
I would like
says
to interject something here.
on that
Sorry.
point, they weren't next door neighbors. Because if you look at it and look at the journey that the messenger had to take to get to her through the flame wall and through the lands of the giants and such, it was a bit of a journey. It wasn't quite the journey to Mordor, but it was still a lengthy journey to get there.
And a dangerous one, right?
Right. So it's not like they were next door neighbors and he's peeking over the hedges going, oh. It took a little bit of time. So you got to, like she said, you got to factor that in too. But also,
I mean, even all that being said, I still would like to hear if anybody's had that experience of having to hear something that they've heard about a god that they admire or like or work with and having
I would like to comment on that, please.
I'm like, I was just about to tell everybody that you've been trying very patiently. I see you, sister. I see you.
So twofold. First, yes, Kira, as someone who follows Odin very closely, yes, all the time. I'm confronted with things that make me deeply uncomfortable. But I have to remember that the way that our gods are recorded, the way that they are written in the lore that we have, makes them very fallible, very human, which I think makes them more approachable. The second point is that Freyr... Freyr's really dumb in this whole story. He shouldn't have been up there in the high seat in the first place. Shouldn't have been up there. Secondly, he shouldn't have been like, I'm gonna send somebody else to talk to her because I'm too much of a coward to go do it myself. And thirdly, he shouldn't have sent Skirnir. If he's known him that long, he should have, kind of maybe thought about it and been like, maybe he's not the best person to send for this job because I want to make a good impression on this girl. Instead, I've come off like a creep. Skirnir's come off like a crazy person, like a madman, like I'm gonna beat you to death if you don't, marry
and
my best friend.
He's got that brand new magic wand. He's just itching to try.
I went out the woods and I got a thing because I had a feeling you'd say no. It's all the whole situation is should not have existed in the first place.
But then we're left
Because it does. Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say, but then we're left with the Breakfast Club moment of, okay, what happened on Monday?
Right, exactly. What happened when Frey found out what Skirnir said? Because Gerd told him. She was like,
that's the story I want to hear.
Here's the other piece of it, to go back to what Kira was saying.
I'm just over here in the text area because noisy background, so I'm just typing in the text area and my response to this.
Hi.
I watch for that, so once that pops up, I will share with the class, my friend.
Something that
You're
ties
in the
into what...
book club, right? Because that's where I watch for that.
All right, time out, everybody. Okay? Time out. Blitz, you've been trying to talk, you're being very polite. It's you, you've got the floor, brother.
I was going to say something to tie into what Kira was pointing out in that sort of hesitation, that weird sensation. Another way to consider this is, as people have said, Freyr knew who Skirnir was. They grew up together. They've been around each other. You can look at this a completely different way and say, hey, he chose to send him knowing full well
Cooper, take your
that
meds.
he's not going to be nice. He's going to say what needs to be said to get the job done. So it's one of those where you can take it both ways. That with the information we're given, I'm more liable to, I don't want to say side with Kira because it sounds like we're debating it, but I can see it more from her stance because of their presumed history that they mention in it. So it's like, yeah, you know your friends well enough. hey, dude, I really want to, hey, help me out here. You need to go make this happen.
And
Now-
to the point of the Breakfast Club situation, I wonder about that because Frey never asked for his sword back. And I think that if we had a moment of displeasure or and maybe I'm missing a part of the lore, maybe I've forgotten a piece where he does get it back, or where there was a accounting for this, but I can't help but feel like that would have been definitely a piece of it.
I'm sorry if he and this woman end up, they're together, they're in love, everything. It's kittens and bunnies and puppies and everything. You think that they're not going to at some point, 5-10 years down the road, laugh about how they met? And she goes, yeah, and that guy you said threatened me? Just something.
Another thing to think about is, like the opening says, a lot of folks see this as an allegory, with Freyr being the god of growth and harvest, having this as the allegory of the sun and winter and planting and stuff. Who hasn't seen that early plant pop up through the snow that's not supposed to be there for another month or so, but is just so damn determined that it's popping up early? And the forcing of nature's growth, even when winter's not quite done yet. Anyone who's got a garden or has grown any sort of plant knows there's always that stupid one in the corner that is popping up way too soon that is not going to make it through the growing season. But by God's, it is determined that it's coming up now. Doesn't matter what's going on. And if you look at how adamant Freyr is in this story as the growth and as the new seeds of spring coming up, regardless of what Girth says, regardless of whether the sun is ready for that growth or not, it's going to come up. So you can't judge it too much just on the words and on the actual story. You got to take it as the allegory that it is intended, as well as the words just left, as the story of the early spring and the retelling of it in the gods and giants as the characters. Before you go judging Freyr too much.
Yeah, it kind of comes from my own. I mean, to kind of address what Kara's talking about. My grandfather, I love him to death. He's in the last stages of Lewy body dementia. He's probably going to die in a couple of months. When I was younger, I was working with him, about 6 years old, and he said a word in front of me that I did not know. He said the N-word in front of me. Now, this is a man who was born, raised in the South. He was probably raised saying that word. My dad had to sit down and have a talk with me about what that word means and why I should never say it. And then he confronted his father, saying, if you ever say that word in front of my child, he's never going to see you again. So for me, it's like I love this man to death. I would do anything for him. I have done stuff for him. And it's like, yes, he's a troubled man with a troubled past. There's some things you got to just realize that they're a product of the time and the people and who they are. And maybe I wasn't ready for that growth. That maybe I was still in my winter, not ready for that spring growth to come out. But I had that conversation at a really young age, and it stuck with me. And it got the race of shit out of me real quick at 6 years old. So it's one of those things that some people are ready for it, some are not. It happens when you're ready or not. I don't know. I mean, my UPG is so much different from anywhere else in here. And that's kind of a beautiful thing, I think.
Yep. It was interesting to me, another piece of this. Oh, sorry.
I don't know who else was going to talk, but who else was going to talk? Because I had a point too. I just wanted to kind of answer your question personally. No, Kira, I haven't ran into it yet in my path yet. I thought I was kind of a little bit with the story in particular. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. But the more I read it and the more I had thought about it, I actually, when I rolled in on everybody who was super early tonight, was listening to it again and like rolled into the conversation. And I think in the end, where Frey talks about his lust and being a human being who is very emotional and lives with her emotions and by her emotions, can understand how lust can be very powerful. In that
especially
moment,
when he's
forgive.
basically like the embodiment of that.
Right. And so in that moment, I then decided that no, I wasn't having that feeling. But like, I haven't in my personal journey with any of the patrons I've worked with ran into that yet. If I do, I'll let you know how it goes for me.
Please do. It's fascinating to me.
I know a couple of you have said you had some talking points that you came prepared with tonight. So please, for anybody who wants to go with another one, this is open floor discussion. This is why I love book club. This is why I feel like I've been on a very healing path for a little while now. So.
I have many, but I don't want to take over this whole thing.
Please. I love that you come prepared.
And like, do it before she turns off Craig, because
I make warnings now and call people out now before I do that, though.
It's my fault. Okay, it's not my fault. It's property of Odin's fault, but he was with me on my thing, so it was my fault.
Okay. So another thing that I was thinking about with this is I wonder also how much of this story is through the lens of Christianity, right? Because Snorri's the one that published this piece, the Codex Regius. Because the wording of the curse, specifically, where she was threatened, this was kind of what drew my attention to this piece in particular, where she was threatened with being seen as hated in the eyes of Odin, in the eyes of Thor, in the eyes of like all of these like big male powerful gods in the Aesir. Nowhere was like a woman, like a goddess's name mentioned. Like it was all very like patriarchal sounding to me. And so I was like, I wonder how the story was before it was published, what the curse sounded like before it was actually like, if there even was like a curse, like, well, actually, so in this time period, like curses abounded, especially when it came to men trying to gain the attention of a woman. But this one in particular, the way it was worded was just like, it makes me wonder.
The wording, you keep saying that, and I'm staring at part of it right now. Sexual shame and madness and unbearing sorrow. That is, like you said, very Christian terminology when it comes to being either possessed or having some sort of affliction in the Christian eyes, in the Catholic Church's eyes.
I don't even think that that's a Christian thing. I think that is just an old male thing. I mean, look at the sanitariums that we used to have for women when you guys would go through your periods or through your menopause or through whatever. Hell, even postpartum depression got you guys sent to the sanitariums. I don't think it was so much a religious thing. I think it was just a male thing to where, she's being hysterical again.
Not to use that word like that, but an ignorance thing?
Yeah.
Time period?
Yeah.
Well, so I was wondering about that because I've kind of been under the impression that women were seen as equal opposites prior to Christianization. Like, there was still of course there were cases of being beneficial for family alliances, beneficial for property ownership, things like that. But I was under the impression that it wasn't so heavily patriarchal until a bit later. But I could be totally up in the night about this.
It's a common modern misconception that, quite frankly, a lot of women have tried to push into the beliefs and modern recognition of heathen past, is that women were on the same levels and that women had the same rights and abilities as men, where unfortunately the lore does not substantiate that. It's just not true.
Okay.
Women try to do it to empower themselves today. And I mean, women should be empowered today, and we should be equals. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff that's changed since way back then, thankfully. But unfortunately, it's another part of the folklore of modern heathen society that people are trying to claim that women had the same rights and responsibilities and freedoms and such that men did, when it's just simply not true. Sorry to burst your bubble.
No, I do. I find that interesting. You bursted mine too, because that's kind of what my understanding had been too.
And that's the thing, like I don't actually know. I know that I've read papers on this. I don't know the sources. So that's going to be another rabbit hole I'm going to love falling into. Like where women had authority over their land. If their husband passed, they still had full authority over their land, right?
Right.
So like I'm remembering this, but I will have to check sources on this.
Once the husband passed, the widow kept it in the family. While the husband was still alive, it was the husband. Once the husband passed, it was hers. They had a lot of rights and a lot of abilities, yes, but not equal to men.
Because like there's archaeological evidence, like women were often buried with keys, and I think maybe that was it, where somebody assumed then that was a symbol of them being the holder of the house, like having that authority. But perhaps that was a misreading. Well, I mean,
the house, yes, because the woman was the master, mistress, whichever, of the home and hearth, with Frigg as being the goddess of the hearth. The woman ran the inside of the house. She was the boss inside. The man owned the house. The man owned the land. But just like most marriages today, we come home, we're the ones that typically, now you all know my situation, my wife works, I stay home, but in a typical modern marriage, the man goes to work and makes the money and comes home, and it used to be that the woman had supper on the table at 6 o'clock and you got home and ate your supper and read your paper and you're the king of your castle. Now it's you come home, you sit on the couch and you do what the wife tells you to do if you're smart, because the wife is in charge at home. You own the home, you own the land, but she's the boss inside. That's the way it was back then too. The men owned everything, the women ran it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You also have to remember that a lot of the grave sites, from a historical perspective, were only grave sites of people who had actual wealth. When you're looking at the common person, most of them were buried just in the ground in a field. The only graves we're kind of nowadays are people who came from money.
Hey.
When you find a woman who's buried with food, more than likely, she was buried with money and had wealth in her family. So the average common everyday person, their story is probably much, much different in that regard.
Right. There were the outliers. There were the rich women who were their own thing and did their own thing and forget what society says. I am the matriarch, and by God's, this is my land and I'm doing this. There were those outliers, just like there are today. But for the most general purposes, the social standings of the men versus women were a lot like they are today. There wasn't really all that much difference.
My mom, once upon a time, had a sign that said, "Do you want to talk to the man of the house or the woman who knows what's going on?"
Right. Exactly.
I like that. That's a funny one. So true.
Corey and I talk every day, and we do a lot of work together with ATN, and she knows how things right here, and she knows that even though I am the 6'4" Jotun who is the master of the castle here at home, My 5'2" redhead wife is the one who runs the place. I don't do anything without asking her first when it comes to the house, because she's the one that is in charge here at home.
This is what happens.
Like my wife is 4 foot. It's about the same height difference, but yeah, she's in charge. She knows what's going on.
Because we are smart men.
We are having some good conversation here tonight. Lots of faces here tonight. I just found out that there's an extra chat in the voice channel.
What?
That's new every day. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
Yeah, I put all the stuff in there with all the stuff and everything.
Yeah, I was wondering where it was. I was wondering where Narek was trying to sell his stuff at. Guys, I found it finally. I'm so cute. You love me. What other points do we have to talk about tonight? Who's got what else? We've got lots of quiet friends tonight. A couple of you are...
Sorry.
No, go.
I brought this up in my rune essay for Facebook if anybody read that. But Frey's insistence on acquiring quote unquote girth was, to my understanding of the lore, the ultimate reason that he was basically weaponless at Ragnarok. It was his own downfall. His desperation to marry this woman that he just saw one day led to him not having a weapon. He gave his sword to Skirnir as payment, basically, to go get her. And then when the chips were down, are down, will be down, whatever, that's when he really gets his comeuppance for this. Because he goes to battle Surt and he has no weapon. He's got a freaking antler. What are you gonna do against Surt with an antler?
I remember reading this too. Where did I read this at?
You bonk.
What?
This wasn't weird. I read this too, where he had given his sword for payment, but it wasn't in what we just read.
Oh yeah, it's in there because Skirnir said, "Give me your sword."
He talks about the sword, but he doesn't talk about giving him the sword for payment.
He
But I
does.
just
He
remember
says,
reading
"I
this.
will give you my sword."
Sorry, I was all into it reading. Apparently,
There you go. Hang on, let me find the stanza.
Here's a good question for y'all to ponder on as well. Knowing the author of this story, Snorri, this is one of Snorri's stories. What other story does this kind of remind you of? Dude
One
sitting
featuring
in a
Odin.
place where he's not supposed to be, looks across, he's a pretty woman.
It reminded me
This
of
one's not.
the story when the guy cursed the kids who were making fun of him and the bear came out and ate them. I mean, if you're looking at more Christianity type stuff.
How about the story of David and Bathsheba?
Well, that'll work too.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that was
I'm not familiar. What is this?
David was up where he wasn't really supposed to be, looked across, saw the pretty lady Bathsheba bathing on the roof, and then did anything and everything he could, including sending her husband to the front line of the war to die, in order to be with her. Because she was so pretty. Never met the girl, never talked to her. He just looked across and saw her bathing on the roof and fell madly in lust with her and decided that she was going to be his no matter what. This story is a lot like the biblical story of David and Bathsheba.
I literally have never looked at it from that perspective, but yeah, that's fascinating.
So how much of Snorri's background as a Christian tainted this story as he retold it, basing it off of David and Bathsheba?
Right, bringing it back to the point that Kiara was making earlier. Yep, absolutely.
That's
Fascinating.
one of the interesting and oftentimes annoying parts of my brain is that I have been ordained in 3 other Christian religions before I finally settled my path here. I've been to seminary, I've been to Bible college, I've done the actual studies of the Christian religion, read the Bible through several times. It's got 3 big major issues that I have found with it. One, it's got way too many authors that don't coincide timeline-wise. 2, it's written on those really annoying thin pages that aren't really decent enough to roll a joint out of. And 3, the ending sucks. There's no room for a sequel. There's no Christ egg left in the corner or anything. There's nothing for a part 2 to bring it back. But as I'm looking through our Lord, reading through our stories, especially the ones from Snorri, you can tell a lot of them are heavily influenced by his Bible and the stories that he relates it to from Christianity. And the trouble is trying to weed through the Christian effects on it to find the actual story buried beneath.
Yeah, I'm starting to pick up on.
Yeah, that's one of the rabbit holes I fall down quite often, is relating them, because I'm familiar with all the stories from the Christianity, relating Snorri's stories to the Christian stories, and going down the rabbit trails there to try to figure out what's the commonalities, what can I glean out of this that's not Christian based, what sounds more in line with the way our gods actually are.
Right. You know, it's every time we've kind of started to bring it up, that's really funny because I was raised in the Christian family as well. And so I'm like, yeah, okay. Way to think about it like that too, like close to like you had just said. No, I didn't think about it like that.
And since it's been brought up, since I brought it up, I want to make the disclaimer here, because there are those out there who will cry and scream that, oh, look, it's just another thing the Christians stole from the heathens. That's not right. The Christians were here first. No matter how much you want to scream and holler and make it try to be different to where we're better, a lot of our stories that we have are based on Christianity, not the other way around. The Christians did appropriate a lot of our stuff, but not everything. And the lore and sagas that we have, especially from Snorri, were based on our lore converted through the Christian lens. So it was not them stealing from us, it was us stealing from them.
I think part of the reason that I never saw it that way is that, like, I have I went to a Christian university, like Casey. I read through the Bible several times. I'm very, very, very familiar with the Christian lore. But I think part of why I didn't see that connection was because I did not want to. I have spent many years refusing to see correlations like that because I didn't want to. But I think it's an important part of our paths. It's an important part of our journeys, and an important part of our growth, to be able to recognize those things, and not only recognize them but accept them for what they are, annoying as they can sometimes be.
100%.
Make sure you give mom some.
100%. I agree, Callista. I've always looked at different religions for a long time. I've talked about it in the group before. And yeah, growing and sometimes not wanting to admit parts of them and think about the collation myself sometimes is hard for me. But it is opening sometimes too.
Mm-hmm. Ray is listening in over my shoulder, and he just said, it's like the Slavs. Sure, we'll accept Christianity into our culture, wink wink, when what they did was they wove it into their own lore. They made Jesus fit with their own lore and their own pantheon, and I think historically that happened a lot with our lore as well. People converted just for the convenience of it a lot of times, but they also converted because they were genuinely interested in this new thing, and they were like, "Hey, all right, sure, I'll pray to Jesus.
I'll taste
You
your
know, I'll
Kool-Aid.
put him right next to Odin over here. Like, sure, like, you know, like,
If you look at it, a lot of our gods that we have in the, a lot of people focus on the Viking era mythology, and if you look at a lot of the gods that are there, they were borrowed from other cultures before the Norse. Woden came over from the early pre-Germanic tribes. Thor came over from the Slavic states. A lot of the gods that we have that we venerate as Norse gods were ones that were borrowed, kidnapped, and some right stolen from other cultures and turned into and modified into the Norse Haven ones, which is to be expected with as much as they traveled. With the various lands that they went to, they brought home not only goods and girls, but gods too.
good girls and gods.
Sounds like a really bad episode of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
Making the flavor I'm gonna stop before Craig. Like,
Because now I can picture, if you guys saw American Gods,
yeah,
the guy who played Odin,
yeah,
rolling around town in Guy Fieri's old Mustang or old Chevy, whichever was his classic Chevy red and white car, rolling through the different Scandinavian towns looking for the gold gods and girls.
I love Ian McShane's. I love his depiction of Odin. Like it's so good. But yes, that. It's right on brand. Like it's.
I love it. Hi, by the way, Ray. Thanks for joining us. It's been some really, really good conversation tonight, guys.
Don't talk to Ray directly. You'll only encourage him.
He better be busy. That's all I have to say. Okay.
Hi, Ray.
He's got stuff and things that he's supposed to be doing.
Heather, you're fired again.
Does anybody have any other topics tonight that we haven't touched on yet? Does anybody have any other areas of conversation that they want to hit with this piece that we discussed tonight? Lost Kira. I don't know. See a chair swinging without her now. It's kind of eerie. It was excellent conversation. I'm still putting together an awesome book club basket that we're going to be putting on auction with the auction coming up. Rachel, while you're here, my lovely, beautiful chair of our merchants, do you want to do a plug for that?
I
Do you want to tell everybody about it? I would love it if you did.
We're doing an auction. I'm really tired right now, sorry.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
Called Go Beast. What is it? Your Love.
Our online auction.
Yeah.
Yule. I-U-L-E.
Yule.
We're looking for people to donate. There's a link in the public chat and the general chat right now. Also, it's going up on the blog. Lots of the merchants have already donated items, and they're absolutely fabulous. And there's going to be more information go out soon about how you can bid and how you can get these items.
Yay! Thank you. I told you guys a while back when we first started talking about this as a council that I had volunteered book club to do a basket. I'm just going to been putting some things together on my own over here. If anybody wants to donate any items for it, they can go ahead and send them straight to Galaxy, because that's where the basket is going to go. I'm basically what's going in there are some basics. ATN has donated a soft copy of the Havamal. I'm going to look into one or two more basic. I was kind of going to throw a poll out there and ask you guys what you thought we should put in it. One or two more books for beginners. I was kind of thinking for baby heathens. A comfy blankie, a candle, book club stuff. I have all kinds of cool mugs of Million that I've never ever used before, so put one in there, all kinds of fun stuff. So book club will have, keep your eye open, book club will have advice.
You have something? Sorry, when should we send stuff to Galaxy if we do have something that we want to include in the gift basket?
Everything has to be sent before October 25th. Or is it
Take a
November
picture
25th?
of whatever you have.
I'll put it in book club.
Cool.
Thank you.
There is a form that we are asking folks to fill out when you donate.
That's why I'm talking about it here right now. So I haven't gotten quite there yet. That's why I'm talking about it now. Because as book club, I'm doing the basket from us. If you want to donate to the book club basket, send me a picture of what you're going to send to Galaxy from the book club for the donation. So that way when I fill out the form from us, it's on there. So she can catalog it. She's got my basket. I'm sending her my basket and everything that I've got prepped. So she can put it all together real cute and get a final picture of it for us to post it on the auction website.
What do you guys think of? There are quite a few of us who come each week. Somebody just bought the Wanderers Havamal, and somebody just bought the Poetic Edda by Crawford. The ones that we just read and the ones that we're reading now. Does anyone remember the total of those?
To purchase both of those?
I know one of them was only like $13 or something like that on Amazon right now.
They were both around the same. They were both
It's
under
about $40 Canadian, so probably about 35 US total.
For both?
US, yeah.
Because we were over 40 Canadian.
All right, so there are, a dozen of us who are usually here each week. If we all chipped in like $2, we could get a copy of the Wanderers Havamal and the Poetic Edda for the book club to stick into the basket.
That's what I was kind of thinking would end up happening, because I was already looking at them in my basket to buy and send that way too.
Right.
Because they're good, very good basic baby heathen books that anybody could want.
Heather?
Does it have to be PayPal?
Did you say there's an Applebee's in town? That's what I
No,
heard. There's
she's
an Applebee's.
asking if it has to be PayPal, because Heather doesn't have PayPal.
Oh. I PayPal or Venmo. That's the only two I will do.
Yeah.
But is there an Applebee's in town?
But here's this other way we could do it, and I don't know how that works as a 504. You'd have to tell me, Beast. But isn't there a way to do since it's gonna all go to Galaxy anyway, purchase it off of her wish list on Amazon, or get ATN an account wish list off Amazon? Right? That's something I can put my thinking brain to that tomorrow, but
ask Mike. Mike's the one that does the Amazon stuff. So
there's got to be a way for us to do it so that we don't have to,
right,
do all this around and around. Let us get back to that.
I've got the Cash App. If you want to do it through the Cash App, you can do it through the Cash App. If you want to do it through the PayPal, you can do it through the PayPal. You can do it directly on the auction site now, because we do have the donation options on the auction site that take various different forms of payment, including credit cards.
But I want to make sure that this is done not in a way that's going to be chaotic for Galaxy to get it to. So.
Right.
No, I mean, you can literally, when you buy it, put her address in the shipping address, and it'll send it right to her.
That's kind of what I was thinking, Callista. Yes, that's kind of what I was thinking, is that we would just, however we do it.
Yeah. That way it's not going to one person, and then that person is responsible to send it to her. That would get chaotic, yes.
I already have a blanket that I've got going in the basket. I already have a basket for us. I don't have it in here with me, or else I'd show you guys, but I'll take pictures soon and put them up. So I already have a basket for us. I already have a blanket for us. I buy candles all the time, so I'll pick one out of my little thing of the nice. I was thinking, since fall is here and it's Yule, the Yule is the theme. we go with those kind of scented candles, 1 or 2 of those. Anything else you guys can think that we want to throw in? Book club, bookworm, basket.
Stationery, because notes.
Or something. I like carving stuff.
Hot chocolate or tea?
I was thinking tea too, so hot chocolate tea. I heard notebook paper.
Yeah,
Is that
like
right? Is that what I heard?
maybe a new journal or something. I think that would be good. Bookmarks.
Yeah, bookmarks. Maybe a highlighter. I mean, that's just something you can just toss in as.
I love it. I got a list going here on my piece of paper, guys. And I'm not even gonna lie to you. A lot of these things, because I am a hoarder like crazy. I already got us. I buy like journals like crazy all the time. Why do you think Goblin got her journal so quick? Their journal so quickly. Their journal so quickly. And I hope that Goblin's not here. Never mind. Next time somebody's in chat with Goblin, you tell them I'm looking for that version of the Goblin Havamal. Let's see it. I love it. That's exactly the kind of stuff I was thinking. So that'll be perfect. If there's no more topics of the discussion for, well, Craig is here, and if we don't need him, if there's any more questions, thoughts, comments about tonight's reading.
Since Craig is still here and people will hear this online, if listeners want to donate money to the book club auction basket, they can send money directly to Awaken the North at donations@awakenthenorth.org through PayPal, and just mark it as for book club donations. And then we'll make sure that that money gets to whoever's buying the actual pieces for the basket sprinkle. And we'll be good that way. So if anyone wants to donate funds to the different stuff, just send it to donations@awakenthenorth.org at PayPal, and we'll make sure that Sprinkle gets the funds to be able to buy stuff.
Yay! And just keep in mind, this is because we are a volunteer organization. We run off of the blood, sweat, and tears of all of our wonderful volunteers that do what we do for our members. We have wonderful, diverse community that I just so much enjoy. And we want to see it thrive. It has been growing. It's going to continue to keep growing. And that's what our wonderful fundraising activities go towards, is more fun activities. Moonbrew's been doing a couple in her community. We have book club every week. I'm going to start our quarterly movie nights and trivia giveaways. I've decided they're going to be movie trivia nights with giveaways. It's going to be fun.
That sounds fun.
So, yeah, right? We're going to do them quarterly. It'll be really fun. So, get with us for that. Tonight we had an extra member that we haven't seen in a while. I just want to give a shout out to one of our other chancellors that's here tonight from our public affairs, Callista. Thank you for joining us, friend.
Yeah, absolutely. I happen to not have to work tonight, so yeah.
Russ, that was awesome.
That's the best. All right, everybody, say goodnight to Craig. Good night, Craig, and all of our YouTube friends.
Farewell, Craig.
Craig.